Ray Charles. Braxton walked in to see Ray Charles in a bedroom getting dressed, still wearing his dark shades, just like in the picture. He carefully pulled out a white dress shirt and a pair of brown slacks from his closet. After dressing in those, he grabbed a pair of brown socks from his drawer. He put on his socks and brown shoes and left the room. He walked down the stairs to see his awaiting friend. Braxton knew something was different about Ray Charles, but he didn't know what it was. He and his friend slowly walked side by side into a large room full of people and instruments. It was an entire band. It was weird to see Ray Charles wearing shades inside of the dimly lit room, but Braxton knew that some people did that all the time when they were trying to look cool. When he saw Ray Charles sit at the piano, he knew he was a musician. Musicians were always cool. "Now follow my lead," Ray Charles said to the others in the room. His fingers danced across the piano to the rhythm. His head swayed side to side in a matching motion. Suddenly, his smile faded and his forehead grew a few wrinkles. No, not like that, Hank," he said, as his fingers ended their dance. "Let me show you." Ray Charles pulled away from the piano and started to play the saxophone, his melody only a little bit different from what Hank had played. Hank nodded in agreement. Ray Charles returned to his piano, and the song began again. To Braxton, the sound was almost the same as the one he had heard before. After a few minutes, Ray Charles' forehead wrinkled again. "No, John, no, that's not quite it." He left the piano again and was given the trumpet. He played the trumpet a bit faster for John. John nodded in agreement. "I got it, boss." The sound was starting to grow on Braxton. It wasn't something that he had heard before, but he thought he could possibly get used to it. Ray Charles went on like that for several minutes, stopping the band and restarting it again until it sounded exactly the way he wanted. Then, he did something Braxton didn't expect. He started singing. Ray Charles sang an entire song to the melody the band played, and at the same time, he continued to play the piano. What made it more interesting was that he would sing the song in several low voices and high voices. Each of his voices was being recorded. After he finished his last recording, the recording was played back so that the band could hear. Braxton couldn't believe it. It sounded like several people had sang with Ray Charles. Braxton listened in with the band. He wasn't surprised to see that he had learned the song so quickly. He tapped his feet and sang along until the entire area fell silent. The voice from nowhere spoke. "Ray Charles recorded more than 60 albums, performed in over 200 shows, and played at least 7 instruments. He achieved all of this without using his blindness as an excuse. Now it's your turn." "What?" Braxton exclaimed. "No way this man can't see. I saw him dress himself." "Your adventure, should you choose to accept it, is to do something that you do every day without the comforts you usually have." Braxton could see himself outside of his school. "Simply walk home from school." Braxton didn't know how the walk would be a challenge. He had done it for the last 3 years. He could walk there in his sleep. "Your walk must be done wearing earmuffs," the voice from nowhere added. Braxton picked up the earmuffs that appeared on a nearby tree stump. He smiled, thinking about how simple the walk would be. The walk was only 3 blocks. A gust of wind flew by, and he removed his arm in an instant. He had almost hit a biker. That's when he realized that without being able to hear, he could easily miss the sounds around him. Those sounds could warn him of oncoming danger. He decided to be more careful. Braxton made it to the end of the block and shifted into the left turn that he usually made at the stop sign. "Your walk must also be done using a blindfold," the voice from nowhere spoke. "How am I supposed to walk home if I can't see home?" Braxton gently picked up the blindfold lying on top of a nearby bush. Maybe I shouldn't have thought I could do this walk in my sleep. Braxton put on the blindfold and continued his journey. He tried to come up with a plan. I can't see. I can't hear well. What can I do? Braxton remembered that he had just turned the corner by the stop sign. All he needed to do was walk straight until he made it to the next block. Then he'd make a left. Carefully, Braxton let his hand guide him atop the line gates. When he reached the end of the gate, he knew that it was time to turn left. That part was easy. Braxton made the left turn and continued his walk. He started to worry that maybe he had gone the wrong way. He had been walking so slow that he couldn't be certain if he was doing the wrong thing. Was he certain it was a left? Was he certain that he made a left? Suddenly, Braxton smelled fish. There was a fish place very close to his home, and he could smell fish all the time. The smell gave him the confidence he needed. He felt silly for not believing in himself. Braxton knew that the house 2 houses before his was the last house with the fence. All he had to do was walk along the end of their grass until he got close to the large plant pots in front of his house. And there it was. He finally felt that long, smooth, yet spiky plant that he normally hated.
"Congratulations,"
the voice from nowhere spoke.
"Your skillful thinking awards you the next level."
Which door will he choose? Jackie Ormes, Langston Hughes,